So I sent you the source code to the original Sonic 1. Did you get it?
I'm trying to open it, but it doesn't like the file type.
Alright, so we'll just have you work on the Game Boy Advance remake from scratch then. People will buy it anyway.
Alright, this should be done in about an hour. Poger!
What's going on, guys? This is Poger coming at you with another video. So the Game Boy Advance is my favorite portable console of all time. You basically have a portable Super Nintendo that you can easily fit right into your pocket. The games are small, but not too small. The Nintendo DS, it's nice, but for me there's just too many moving parts like the touch screen, the dual screen. I'm just not as much of a fan of it as I am the Game Boy Advance. So when I was a teenager, I remember going to a Best Buy and seeing Sonic the Hedgehog for Game Boy Advance on the shelves and thinking, oh wow, that's actually really cool. Imagine playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the go. However, I never ended up picking up that game, and I always wondered what that game was like. Thank God I didn't, because I actually heard really bad things about the game. So with that said, we're going to check out a few Sonic games that were released on portable consoles, and we're going to talk about how the Sonic hacking community fixed a couple of the problems that Sega had. Anyway, let's get started.
So before I start, I wanted to talk about why I like the original Genesis game. The stages are gigantic, the level design is incredible, the replayability is very high, and it's fun to move fast. This game showed the true power of the Sega Genesis. Now, I've been critical towards this game in the past, but forgetting that Sonic 2 exists for a second, this is a great game. So the idea of playing this game when you're in a car or waiting for an appointment was really cool to me, but this does come with a great responsibility. How do you bring this over to the Game Boy Advance? Are they going to use an emulated ROM of this game, or are they going to port it? So when you look at the back of the box, the screenshots look pretty identical to the original Genesis game, nothing out of the ordinary here. When you boot up the game, it honestly looks fine. When you start actually playing, however, there's one big problem I noticed right away: the resolution. It's much smaller. It's extremely difficult to see where you're going. This is the most apparent on the special stages. The original Sonic should not be played like this. The Genesis had a resolution of 320 by 224 pixels. The Game Boy Advance has a resolution of 240 by 160 pixels, much smaller. Not much they could have done here, but I thought Sega would just shrink the screen down to fit the Game Boy Advance's resolution, not crop it down like they did here. The second thing I noticed, I could tell within the first few minutes of playing that this isn't emulation at all. In fact, this plays much differently than the original game. The physics are way off. There's just some weird collision issue where solid walls do not stop Sonic's momentum. Even just a single spin dash will carry you so far throughout the stage. This is insane. Speaking of collision, sometimes hazards that are supposed to hurt you do not. How did I land in the lava without taking damage? Sometimes the problem is the opposite. How did I die from those spikes when I have 2 rings? The special stages are badly messed up. There's no momentum when you fall, you just drop at a steady, very slow speed. It's almost like you're going down an elevator. In the original game, the color blocks are a challenge to maneuver through because of the rotation, but in this game, you just fall through them like a rock, and you can get the Chaos Emeralds easily. So you have the option to play Original Mode or Anniversary Mode. The only difference is Spin Dash, nothing else. No ability to play as Tails or Knuckles. This would have been a great opportunity to add them as playable characters, but they didn't bother here. Not only did the physics get butchered, but so did the sound. To say it sounds different from the original is being generous. Literally every action, whether it's breaking blocks, killing enemies, hitting Robotnik, all have the same monochromatic sound. Listen to this. What happened? Did they run out of time? Did they think we wouldn't notice? The original had a variety of different sounds for each action, so this just isn't acceptable. So we've established already this is not emulation. I mean, doesn't take a rocket scientist, look at it. So would this be a port instead? Honestly, I think no. Porting the game would mean taking the original source code and making modifications so it's compatible with the Game Boy Advance. It's clear that this was done from scratch. Why? Why do that? If they wanted to be lazy, they could have just taken Sonic Advance and changed the graphics. That game was great. It almost had identical physics to the original Sonic games. So before I end this review, I wanted to talk about a glitch that I found. When I died on Labyrinth Zone, I was transported back to the last checkpoint, which is normal, but the water is completely missing from the stage. When I originally made it to this same checkpoint, it was underwater. Even the bubbles still exist, even though there's no longer water here. Eventually, when I made it farther in the stage, the water did come back, but this is just another bug that was not in the original. This is one of the side effects of trying to remake a game from scratch rather than porting or emulating. So overall, it doesn't seem like the developers had Sonic 1 in mind when they made this game. They just took the levels from the original game and then did their own thing. It's not like there's just one or two problems that need to be fixed. This game is so broken, they should have just thrown out the source code and started over. I just don't see the effort here. I think they were hoping that consumers wouldn't notice how different this game is from the original. So because Sega was not able to deliver to its fans, the hacking community did instead. One member in particular was Stealth, who was known for many projects, including his involvement with Sonic Megamix. He recognized that the Game Boy Advance remake was bad, and he wanted to prove that the console could do better. So he made his own port, simply called Sonic the Hedgehog GBA. This is an actual port of Sonic 1. Again, when I say port, that means the original source code was altered to be compatible with the Game Boy Advance, so that means that the physics are going to be very on point to the original game. This port is everything that the official remake that Sega created should have been. Tails and Knuckles are actually playable in this too. The only downside, Green Hill Zone and an incomplete version of Labyrinth Zone are the only levels here. This is just a proof of concept after all. But it does prove what the Game Boy Advance was capable of. It wasn't just limitations that held Sega back here. Remember that this proof of concept was made by just one person who didn't even work for Sega, and this game was created only 2 years after Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis. So Stealth would eventually move on to bigger things. He formed the company Headcanon, and his work was noticed by Sega. Stealth and his team worked on mobile ports of the Sonic games, and Sega would eventually recruit them to make Sonic Mania. Stealth was not the only programmer that made a difference in the Sonic hacking community. Another programmer by the name of Steven Dittrich created a working Genesis emulator for the Nintendo DS called Genesis DS. This emulator allowed all of the Sonic games to run on the Nintendo DS. Steven's work was recognized by Sega, and he was actually hired to produce a Nintendo DS game using the emulator he created. This game would be called Sonic Classic Collection and would feature the 3 Sonic games as well as lock-on capabilities with Sonic and Knuckles. Because the emulator ran the games without having to change the source code at all, Sega didn't have to remake 3 Sonic games from scratch. But running games on an emulator is not perfect. To create one general emulator that can handle every possible Genesis game is not easy, but after playing Sonic Classic Collection, they actually got it right here. The games play exactly like they did on the Genesis. The physics, the graphics, the sound are all accurate to the original games. We finally have a way to play these games on a portable console. There are some tiny emulation issues though. There are some graphical issues and sound issues I noticed here and there. They couldn't quite get the resolution right either. I wish they gave you the option to shrink the screen down, but instead the screen pans with your character. The controls are fine, but for some reason they put the pause button on the touchscreen. You can't even use the buttons on the DS to pause. Why? That's really stupid. They did a good job bringing these games over to the DS, but they didn't go above and beyond with this collection. They didn't add any additional content to these games. No Spin Dash in Sonic 1, no Tails or Knuckles in Sonic 1, it's just the original games unmodified. But in all honesty, I would rather have this than what we got on the Game Boy Advance. If you have a Nintendo DS and you love the Sonic games, do yourself a favor and get this. I know David Holcomb already did. So why is Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis important? Well, Sega knew that they made a mistake here. This was when they started listening to their fans more and recognizing outside talent in the Sonic community. This is great because programmers like Stealth and Steven have contributed greatly to Sega and have given us great games. Had it not been for Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis, we may never have had Sonic Classic Collection or Sonic Mania or any of the other great contributions from fans. Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis was supposed to be a port of the original, but it was nothing like it. The physics were off, the sound was bad, there were glitches. Imagine purchasing this game thinking you're getting the original Sonic the Hedgehog, only to be disappointed that it's not. Stealth's project was proof that the Game Boy Advance could handle the original Sonic, but Sonic Classic Collection on the other hand was proof that Sega learned their lesson. They played it safe here by using software emulation, and the games turned out great. At least Sega didn't make the same mistake twice. Hey, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like rating. It only takes a second and it gets my video noticed by more people. Also, if you enjoy my content, drop a subscription, that way you'll be notified when my next video comes out. Plus, it's completely free. Finally, drop a comment if you have any questions, suggestions, or just want to share your gaming experiences. This greatly helps the YouTube algorithm, and I'm usually pretty good at replying back. Anyway, have a good one, guys.